You show me someone's pain tolerance, I will show you how far they're gonna go. You have to know how to control your mind and your emotions.
What services did you start with early on? How many clients are you guys currently working with? Talk to us about those early days.
I'm working this job, I'm sending all these emails, I'm walking into businesses. It took me 7 months pursuing this full-time until I made my first dollar. And I realized I can completely go all in. I'm willing to lose this million to build the team, build the technology, build everything we need to do to literally be the best. All you gotta do is just...
What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Link Live, episode 16 today, and we're finishing off the Miami series, episode 3 of 3, and we're welcomed today by Stevie Johnston, founder and CEO of Digital Ox. He's scaled this business from 0 all the way up to 8 figures in total revenue. He's doing about $5 to $6 million a year. From bussing tables at restaurants to living probably one of the most elite lifestyles in a city like Miami, Stevie covers everything in between. So let's hop right into the episode. Link Live, Stevie Johnston, let's get into it.
We're back with another episode of Link Live. We're keeping the Miami tour going. We are here with Stevie Johnston, founder and CEO of Digital Ox. I'm selfishly super excited for this conversation, being someone who's at the top of the game within marketing and advertising. So very happy to have you here. We want to start off kind of like how we always do and dig a little bit deeper. Start with your upbringing, background, family life, childhood, anything like that you feel like is a necessary part as a part of your journey and kind of what's got you to this point today. So let's start there. Just like, what were some of those early influences? Tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, so on and so forth.
Yeah, let's do it. So I was actually, I was recently thinking about this. I was like, because I was back home for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And so I'm from San Diego, so context. Born and raised South San Diego. It's called Chula Vista. So I don't know if most people heard of it, but essentially went back there and realized, damn, like I think what happened was I was raised by entrepreneurs. So my dad was a scrappy entrepreneur, and my mom kind of like followed suit, so they were in the real estate space. They started as real estate agents, were successful, hardworking, grinding real estate agents, and then they started their own real estate firm. So subconsciously, I probably saw this starting around the age of like 10, 12,
right? Never
home. We were raised by a nanny who lived in Tijuana, who they would pay $200 a week, who basically, cooked for us and did stuff because they were working. But essentially my parents were so busy that I had a lot of freedom. So by the time I was 11, I was hooked into skateboarding. So okay. I was like, I thought I was going to go pro. But skateboarding comes with, we're taking the bus all around the city. We're skating spots. I'm spending that at friends' houses. I'm pretty much not coming home for like 2-3 days. And I think I experienced such an insane amount of like creativity and freedom as a kid that by the time it came to like the real world, as in like, you got to get a job, I just was unemployable, unfortunately.
Sure.
I was working in the restaurant industry, and after about a year, I was like, holy fuck, like I don't think I can do this. But at the time, I also had no skills. So I was terrible at school, 2.0 student. I mean, everyone kind of, but realistically, if you took my scorecards and grades from first grade all the way to college, I'm a 2.0 student. And so I'm working in this restaurant and I realized this is going to be tough because I'm unemployable, but 2, I also have no skills. And so the funny thing ever is I in college was fortunate enough to have a roommate who was a professional rugby player. I played rugby in college, and he started an apparel company, and he was doing like $20,000 a month in college from Shopify sales.
Nice.
And our whole living room was filled with boxes, and this kid would literally drive to FedEx every day, like 5 times a day, dropping off all these orders. And that's when I first got opened up to Facebook marketing, content, socials, because I would model for the clothing.
Okay.
And there would be these guys in our living room running Facebook ads. And this is like in 2015, where I was like, hold on, you guys are like, how'd they let you behind Facebook? Like, how are you even doing that? I was so ignorant at the time, but I was exposed to it. And then it's funny, like 2-3 years later, I get hit with the Tai Lopez ad while I'm working that restaurant job, literally desperate for anything I can just pour myself into, because I know the runway of me working this job is going to get shaky. Like,
right.
But kind of tie it all together. Me growing up, when I was reflecting back home, I was like, I had so much freedom and creativity. And I think it kind of forced me to be an entrepreneur, because it was hard for me to be confined to a job and not have freedom.
Sure. And
be told to be here at 6 a.m. and then you leave at 4 and then do this, be that, you can only do this. And I was like, holy shit, this is not it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much my answer.
So you're starting college, ending college at that time when you started modeling the apparel business.
Modeling the apparel business was like junior year of college.
Okay. Where did you go to school, by
It was
the way?
Arizona State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun school, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's the only school I could get into. The only reason why I went there is literally that's the only school I could get into.
Sure.
Straight up. I don't even
Makes sense. What did you major in there?
I chose business economics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Safe route. Can't hurt.
Yeah, it was like safe, hard, and like, let me see if I can do it. And yeah.
Yeah. Fast forward a little bit of time. Did you get like a traditional 9-to-5 out of school at all?
No, I literally, I didn't have no one would hire me. I had no, like, I graduated with a 2.0 from Arizona State. I was cooked. You know, I was working in a health food restaurant, which was super popular in Scottsdale. Like, it was the spot. So I got in there early, and that was it. You know, that's all I had.
Love it. Fast forward a little bit. Did you have a specific inflection point? Did you live in Scottsdale post-grad a little bit and then eventually move around? Talk to us a little bit about that period of time.
Yeah, so post-grad, while I was working there during college and then post-grad, I continued to work there. And basically got to the point where I probably lasted another year and a half. And that's when I started the agency.
Okay.
And I was someone who quit the job too early when I had like one client, thinking that like I was just going to start killing it. And obviously the agency is way harder than what people think. Business in general is like 10 to 100 times harder than what you expect it to be, right? Because you don't understand like the reality of it. And so quit that job prematurely. Then I have to I work for this Italian spot, which was literally like 5 doors down from the other spot I was working at. And I kind of just got to the point where I was like, I believe in this. I need to go all in. So my mom let me move back home in San Diego.
Okay. Rent
free. So I moved back home, and that was interesting. So moved back home, get a job at another like fish shop, California fish shop like type restaurant. And that's where I was able to work there, but not pay rent, and just literally just immerse myself in
just grind
in the agency. Yeah.
About how old were you at this time?
I was probably 23, 24.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not to rewind a little bit, but what got you into the agency space? Was it the Tai Lopez ad a little bit, or like were the indicators there that kind of got you involved in that?
So I think, I think why the Tai Lopez ad and like, hey, start a marketing agency and get local businesses to pay you money clicked so much for me was because I already saw what Facebook ads did for my buddy's apparel company.
Right.
Right. So like I was probably naturally already aligned with marketing, paid marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads in that market. So I think that's what happened.
Okay. Fast forward then a little bit. You started the agency. You moved back to San Diego. I like to hone in on this specific time period for a lot of the people that I talk to on this show because everything is so over glamorized on social media, as you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that made it or that are big on social media that are, well-renowned entrepreneurs, they're showing you after the acquisition, after they made the first million, after they scaled, right? But not enough people are talking about the 0 to 1 million or not even, right? The earlier challenging days. You mentioned entrepreneurship is 10 to 100 times harder than people really let on and understand. Talk to us about those early days, some of the trials, tribulations, maybe some of those moments where you're scratching your head like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, what did that really look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first reality is it took me 7 months of like pursuing this full time until I made my first dollar. Right. So for some of you guys, you'll probably make it a lot quicker. You realize like I was zero skills, zero experience, zero anything. So it took me 7 months to make my first dollar, which was brutal, like brutal. I'm working this job. I'm sending all these emails. I'm walking into businesses. Everyone's just like, bro, no, like,
Who's this kid?
Yeah. Like, who's this kid? Or just kind of, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's the hardest part of getting started is continuing to put in a massive amount of work when there is zero sign of success in the near future, zero light at the end of the tunnel, and you just keep going in the dark. I think most people cowered out at that stage.
Sure.
And they quit. But the pain of doing all that work was nowhere near the pain of continuing to work at these, $15 an hour,
Right. Restaurant jobs.
Restaurant jobs, right?
Yep.
It was like, and I knew that if I didn't figure it out, I already saw there was going to be bigger problems than that based on like, what I wanted out of life and like just my temper towards
Sure.
working those jobs.
What was that deciding factor when you were like, I'm going to become an entrepreneur? There's kind of no plan B here. Was there something specific that sparked in you? Because you probably could have tried harder and got some level of a 9 to 5 and corporate stability, I'm sure, if you wanted to, right? You seem well connected. I'm sure you're well connected enough. But was there like some sort of trigger there?
Yeah, I think
people talk about like, you're born with it or you just know, and not everybody's cut out for it.
no, I think the real trigger was I was in Scottsdale. I always had friends who were successful in some form and way, whether professional athlete or whatever, right?
Okay.
And because I've always been in like athletics and these social circles and dynamics, and with that, you realize like how cool life can really be. Like the people you hang out with, the places you go, the food you eat, all that lifestyle, right? Which Scottsdale definitely has that. It's a very money-driven, successful place of entrepreneurs. And it really clicked when I realized that like I wanted all that, but I was just literally, it's funny because all these guys at the gym and everyone would come to my restaurant to eat because we had super healthy food. And it just clicked that like, dude, I'm serving all these guys food at 12 because they all run businesses and they have all the freedom. It kind of all just clicked when it got to the point where I was like, holy shit, like if I don't figure something out, which is AKA I need to start a business. Well, I need to know what to start. And it was just like 6 months of what am I going to do? Because it's not going to be working for someone else to achieve this type of lifestyle. So kind of selfish in a way, you know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I kind of have a similar story. I don't want to steal the show here, but like I was in hospitality a lot after I graduated college. I was like DJing, doing event production, promotion stuff. And like I was exposed to a certain kind of lifestyle. And I knew that the corporate job I was working at was never going to get me remotely close to that. So I totally resonate with that there. More specifically, the first, you mentioned like you didn't make $1 until 7 months in or so. What services did you start with early on? Were you all in on paid immediately? Did you dabble in other areas?
Yeah, I was just naturally inclined to paid social and content and like driving leads through paid social content to landing pages. And realistically, my first client was a free client. And really what happened there was I injured myself doing front squats, never been to the chiropractor ever. Go to the guy basically down the street, me and him become first off, he fixes my neck in like 2 days. I was like, that's insane. Cause I was rolling out of bed. And then we clicked and I was like, who's doing your marketing? He's like, no one. I'm like, so confident. I just went through this Tai Lopez course thinking that like whatever they told me to do is just going to work.
Yeah.
He gives me $500, do it for free, completely flop. And, but through all that learning of chiropractic advertising, I was like, well, I'm going to try this again. And the second time I got a client, I ended up knowing this kid who was doing good. Mm-hmm. And I contacted him. I was like, honestly, man, how much would you charge me to teach me just how you do what you do? Because you're posting all these results. And if I don't, deep down, if I don't do successful in the second one, that's going to be a tough battle to overcome, right? And
100%.
Low key, it works. Shout out to Tanner. I've never seen that kid ever again in my life. I don't even know what he's doing, but he literally was like $400. I was like, that the first client paid me $750 a month, gave him that 400 and just observed everything.
So was he teaching you how to run and operate the ad managers?
Yeah, he was like, dude, this is the creative, this is the copy, these are the headlines, this is what you're gonna want to split test, this is the landing page, this is the questionnaire, this is the SMS, the email, this is how you follow up. Like the whole just local business, local lead gen, specifically in that space.
Yeah.
Turned it on, freaking just went off. And I was like, holy shit.
Love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're touching on something that's super specific because especially when I got into marketing too, there's a lot of the crowd that's like, you need to niche down. And you even kind of mentioned this already to me. You niche down to 1 or 2 services. You niche down to 1 or 2 industries. You need to be the best there rather than trying to be the best at everything. How prevalent was that to you early on? Was that something that you stumbled in and kind of realized later on? Obviously, Digital Ox now has a very prevalent stamp in health and wellness, medical, dental, chiropractic based businesses, right?
Yeah. Honestly, me niching down, when I really think about it, really just came down to the fact that like I was not that sophisticated. So I was naturally like not trying to go complex because all this was so new that I was like, dude, I'm just going to stay here.
You felt confident there.
I just want to stay here because if I now go to real estate or all these other businesses, I'm going to have to learn all those complexities. And so I was just naturally inclined to just realize like, I'm going to stay here and just see how far I can go here.
100%.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of coaching and education from your friend that taught you how to learn the ad managers a little bit. You then roll into that second client, I'm assuming, and you're able to have a little bit of success. Talk about maybe the first moments of success a little bit where you were getting the results that made you feel confident to go after the next one.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally instantly, we start generating a lot of leads and those leads start coming to this clinic. Now this clinic was in Scottsdale, literally right down the street from my house. So I'm literally going to this guy's office, taking all the photos with my camera. Like, this is definitely not scalable. But my first client I was in there, content, this, and this. And he's like, dude, this shit's working. And
this is about month what? How many months in?
This is at that 7-month mark. Okay. So I made 700. He literally wrote me a check too, because I had no payment processing. I was so ignorant that I didn't even have payment processing, Stripe, or anything. This is back in 2017.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, how do you pay me? A check? He's like, how do you want me to pay you? I'm like, freaking check? Like, that's how stupid I was. Come a long way. And but yeah, right when it went off, and he was stoked, and I got really lucky. He was a part of this CRM company that really focused on physical therapists and chiropractors, and they just got through. By the time he got to me, he went through 2 to 3 failed agencies that this CRM company referred, all super garbage results. And so when we went live and we got results, he put me in contact with the owners of the CRM company, who are also in Scottsdale. And that's where I got my big break, because we ended up going to breakfast, and it's funny, they're like 2 55-year-old dudes. I'm like 2 weeks into generating results that I'm going to just act as if I've been doing this. Like, I am that guy. So I play that card, and I'm like, perfect, we're gonna give you 10 clients. And I'm like, fuck, are you serious? So I literally go from like $750 a month to like, and remember, we're only charging at that time like $1,200 a month. They're taking half commission. I'm like, whatever. But I go from like $750 a month to like $4K a month, while getting all this extra experience just handed my way to just deploy all these things that I'm like learning. And we end up taking that relationship together to like 15, 20K a month. Nice. For years. And then that allowed me to just build so much confidence in knowing that I could scale further. And then I learned about more services that I could advertise, more businesses, that I just sent it on my own. But I had them as they
were like a master case study for you.
Yeah. And they were like here's clients without you having to knock doors and send cold emails.
Right.
I still continue to do that because I always felt like, well, if this leaves, I still want to do this. So it was like both at the same time, but definitely a lucky.
Did that scare you at all? Because like it was kind of like all your eggs were in one basket, where if that relationship then something went south, then it was almost going to deplete all your revenue at the time. Yeah,
especially as I got more confident and I realized the reason why I got into this was ultimate freedom and no one telling me what to do. And so obviously when you have a partnership like that and they're kind of semi in control, even though we're splitting the revenue.
How big of a company were they at the time? Were they like pretty well known, or just, they were niche to that industry?
They were niche, but they probably had like 200 clients.
Wow.
You know,
unreal.
They're a cool entrepreneurial family who, like it was great. Great experience.
Love that. So I'm sure you then leverage that relationship. You start to segue into more and more clients. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about that threshold between maybe, I don't know, 15K a month. And then once you start to really sort of scale up a little bit.
Yeah. So essentially,
and just to put in perspective right now, to give context, how many clients are you guys currently working with?
Right now.
And I know the numbers don't always mean everything, because you could have 10 clients paying you 10 to 15K a month and you're doing just fine. But
yeah, I mean, today we had our monthly review on November. I think we're right around like 103 clients.
Wow.
Yeah. We used to have more.
Is that solely in the US, or are you guys international?
Solely US.
Wow.
So we're really big in the dental surgeon space. So we probably have 70 dental surgeon clinics. And then the other clinics are going to be a mix of like regenerative medicine, chiro PT style clinics,
Okay.
pain management, things like that.
Okay. So talk us through then, I guess, like the quote or the video that stays stuck in my head is like Kevin O'Leary saying like getting from 0 to 1 million is borderline impossible. It feels like you'll never achieve that or get to that milestone. But then once you do, getting from 1 to 5 million is that much easier, and 5 to 10, so on and so forth. Right. And we'll get into the whole personal content and some of the stuff that you preach on social, but I know you've talked about some of those topics, and I want to hear about that experience from you then transitioning with the CRM company to achieving that first 7-figure milestone and there on forward.
Yeah. Yeah. So, essentially by the time we're 15, 20K, I kind of had the ego and the confidence that like, look, I'm not trying to split 50-50 revenue. I was getting like, all right, again, it's almost like I have a job, even though they're paying me as like a contractor. So it was like,
There's too much of a tie still.
it was like great, but then I was like, okay, I'm going to full send on the other side too.
Okay.
So I'm never reliant on them. And yeah, so we get to the first thing we realize is I niched so down that I scaled like the same type of clinics all the way to 50 grand a month. And that is when life extremely started to change. Cause we were doing 50K a month. And when I say we, I mean me and one of my best friends who I hired, who I've known since 7th grade, meaning like our profit margin was like 45,000 out of 50, for a long time. And
how were you able to sustain running that leanly at the time? Was it because you were so niched down, you were doing like one service essentially?
no, the main reason was my relationship with money was not good. So the whole time I was thinking, I'm looking at my bank account and I'm just calculating how many months I could live before I get a job again. Mm-hmm. And that mindset lasted for years. And really my relationship with money, which we could probably talk about later, has finally changed as of this year. But it was coming from a place of like, I will work 12, 13-hour days, 7 days a week to just stack as much cash as humanly possible to like just feel like I'm getting further and further away from ever walking into those 2 doors again, serving smoothies, juice. Like that's literally, I was terrified. Like I was terrified of doing that. But it was a good thing. And I think my way was probably the best way because one, I learned a ton about marketing. I learned a ton about sales. I learned a ton about account management. Every single role in the agency, even right now, I could hop in on the drop of a dime.
Right.
I could take calls, calling leads. I could go into the ads manager, anything about creative, landing pages, forms, account management calls, data. Like you tell me, I'm there. I'm not ignorant to anything. And that's because early on, I did everything and just was like hoarding the money. It wasn't even about like, I want to learn all these skills. It was like, let me hoard this money. But through that, I learned all the skills.
Right. There's an analogy my dad uses with me all the time. Used to annoy me, but like now I understand it more. And he told me this. My dad's an entrepreneur as well. And he always harped on me when I started a business. He's like, if someone's going to open up a pizzeria, like they better know how to make a fucking pizza, right? Like nobody that's opening a pizzeria doesn't know how to make a pizza. So like he took that into his line of work, and he's in like automotive detailing, owns car washes and stuff. And he's like, I could clean a rim all the way up to building this location. Right. And I think that aligns pretty much with what you were just saying is you were essentially doing everything, and that makes sense. What were some of the roadblocks then once you got to the 50K mark?
Yeah.
You're running extremely lean.
Yeah. So running extremely lean, the first roadblock was churn. So that's when churn started to take a hit.
And at this point, do you have like some pretty serious contracts in place? Did you get more of the systems and processes going, or you're still kind of just like run and gun, just being as aggressive as possible?
Yeah, I mean, it was super simple. It was like we do 3-month contracts, then month to month. Okay. At this time, it was Facebook ads, landing page, generating leads for their teams to call and book appointments. Very simple, like almost like super scalable. Because like, okay, how long does it take to set this up? 2 hours, and then how many hours is this of management a month? Maybe 2. Like, because it was that time where Facebook ads was different too.
Yeah.
Like we found what creatives just dominate. We found the whole formula, and it just rode. It was like this wave we rode for a long time.
Okay.
And obviously things change, right? Everything's going to eventually change. And that's when like at 50K, things started to change. There's always whatever updates, et cetera, et cetera. But churn was the first big thorn in our side, right? So at 50K, we'd bring on 5 clients a month and we'd lose 5 clients. And like 3-4 months of that was like an insane amount of like anxiety. One was I felt terrible not providing the results. So it was almost like something very personal that I took.
Sure.
The second one was at that time you expect the worst. Like, fuck, what if everything everything goes bad? So the more we looked at it, we ended up realizing that the reason why we're losing clients is because their staff is really just not calling these leads or is really bad on the phones. And that's what happened. And the way we figured it out was,
because in this case, to explain it to the people that may not understand, your main priority and your sole job at the end of the day was to place the leads at these businesses. You were not closing them. You guys are not the salesmen.
Yeah.
Right?
We're sending them name, email, phone numbers for them to call and get these people.
So essentially like your success is in the hands of somebody else.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Totally understand.
And at scale, you're going to come across more of those clients who don't have good leadership, good employees saying, hey, like, let's call these leads. Let's follow DigitalOps protocol. There's going to be more of that. And it finally took for one client who was like semi like good client who wanted to cancel. And I told Anthony, who's our head of customer success right now, and I was like, dude, let's call these leads and see what happens. And they got like 3 appointments in the door, like the month they wanted to cancel. We literally get 14 people in the door in like 3 weeks. And that's when the light bulb went off. It was like, we need to figure out how to do all the marketing and do all the appointment setting and call all these leads for all of our clients, because this is what's happening.
Right.
And that's when we ascended into the $1 Million a Year Club about 5 months later.
Wow. And I'm sure it wasn't even a matter of like, because I was going to ask, like, what do you think you guys were doing differently that the businesses weren't? Your answer may be like, the business just weren't, right? The people that were working there were just not following through at all. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's nobody that cares more than you guys, right? Because it's you guys then on the hot seat if you lose them. So
yeah,
you had all the upside and all the incentive to want to finish the cycle.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want the party to end. And,
right.
And the worst part is when you're getting your ass kicked and you have no idea what the problem is. Like, that's the worst part of entrepreneurship, is you're suffering and you don't know why. It's much better to suffer, but you know why.
Right.
And then you aggressively just destroy whatever that is as fast as you possibly can. And I went through months of suffering, not knowing why. Very brutal time. And it's funny because at the time, me and my buddy are living in this penthouse in San Diego, making the money, but knowing like we're at a tough time.
Right.
And then finally,
That click.
it just like, let's just really investigate all the way to the point where we're going to do all this extra work that we're not getting paid for to see if this is the problem. And then boom, it was the problem.
Wow. How many months or years are you in at this point once you hit the 7-figure club?
So the first year I did 20,000. The second year I did 169,000. The third year I did 575,000. Year 4 I did 1.2.
Wow. What were the main things you would accredit that growth to in between 3 and 4, aside from what you just mentioned? Or was it all that?
It was 100% all that because
Wow.
we were the first ones to literally come to the market with a solution saying, don't just sit back, relax. We're going to do all the marketing and all the lead handling. All you got to do is look at your calendar. And so the moment we hired our first rep and then she was successful, and then we hired a second rep and then it was duplicatable, we started running ads and we just fucking took off.
Wow.
Because that message in the market was never heard before.
Up until that point, were you guys scaling more so off of referrals, or were you doing like a cold outreach strategy?
Yeah. Cold email, little referrals. And then once this new digital ops was formed, which was called performance marketing and call center, which is what we are today.
Okay.
That's what we are today.
Yeah.
Like that's what is needed in all these across the whole United States. That is the problem. All these local businesses are so bad at taking leads and having a very sophisticated caller take that lead into an appointment that shows up. It's catastrophic. And so we figure it out. We find some sort of scalability, meaning we know how to hire. We're hiring these people off Indeed. This is when I actually had an office too, in-person office. And
These were local individuals?
all local,
Nice.
right? This is pre-COVID to where in that penthouse in San Diego, the downstairs, we literally had a desk. Imagine like in here, just, it's a little bit bigger than this, but desk, whiteboards, all the clients' names, how many leads they have, how many appointments, like it was an internal like office. And we started running ads, and this is how crazy it was. We were this message was never heard. We literally spent $2,000 in ads and closed like 150,000 in collection. I don't even know what that ROAS is. It's ridiculous. Now that does include the 3-month contracts, but still, like it was like printing cash because everyone knew it was the biggest pain point. Everyone hated it. All these doctors was like hated that part of the whole process. And we successfully kind of did it. And
Right.
I also attribute the fact that like we went US based and the highest quality talent out the gate because I was terrified of selling something like that and trying to cut corners and knowing that like I would destroy my reputation if we're coming out here saying this outlandish stuff. We can do this, and this, and then screw that up.
Right.
You know?
Very interesting. I was going to say, what approach were you taking when you started to hire these reps in terms of like coaching them and training them? How were you able to like provide value to them and essentially like stamp that they were going to be successful as closers, right?
Mm-hmm. So first we did it, right? Going back to, we were the type of people where it's like, I'm going to learn everything because, so we learned it. We built the scripts, and the training at the time was pretty simple. It's like, hey, look, here's recorded calls of success. Here's the script. I could literally show you right now. Like Like it was like that. Like, let me just show you that I'm just using this and that's it. And you're just going to practice this shit every day. And probably starting tomorrow, you're just going to start taking calls. And I actually have a video of it. The first employee who made the first appointment, we recorded the whole thing.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, holy fuck. Like,
that's awesome.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah.
Love that. So you guys obviously you find what's working, you continue to scale that up. What's next? How do you guys continue to repeat that? How do things start to mature then into the next phase?
So really, the really only thing from there was like, we just need to hire way more people, because you got to think about it. We had the script, we had this simple training process. We put $2,000 in the ads manager, pulled out like 30 clients. If you really do the math on that, who the hell's going to service all these clients? Like, we had to turn off the ads because we have freaking 2 reps.
Yeah.
And we're cooked. So then it was like, holy cow, how are we going to hire? So we ended up hiring more friends from high school. Literally like more friends from high school. And I was just at dinner with like most of them. We're using Indeed. We're just doing anything desperately to get someone who was just going to be with it, who had that work ethic. And we get to a point where we outgrow the downtown San Diego penthouse apartment we had. And I get an apartment in Mission Valley, San Diego, which we had a whole down floor where we could fit like 13 desks, 14 desks. And we just literally get to the point where we have like 8 people then. And that allowed us to easily now go into like the definitely 7-figure upper range.
Okay.
And at that point, it was just like just stabilizing and just refining things, but still simple, like still.
You had the formula.
Simple, right?
What was your perspective at that time? Were you still doing mostly retainer based agreements? Were you doing a lot of like performance share because you felt even more confident? I'm curious what your opinion on that is in agency world in general. Mm-hmm. I know it probably depends on what service you're doing, but what did you guys start to do around that time? And what's your opinion on that in general for today's agency landscape? Yeah.
So our pricing is something that I've always spent a lot of focus on. So at the start, our price went from around that time, $1,500 to $2,300. And then as we went further and built more confidence, I moved to $2,500. Then it went to $3,000.
That's just to do the service.
To do the marketing and the appointment setting.
Okay.
Right.
And you guys were not taking commission, or you were?
No commission.
Okay.
Now.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah. Now, price arbitrage, especially in the local business, like they don't have these fat budgets, right?
Correct.
Like if you say, hey, we're a 10K retainer, I mean, there's clinics of ours that do that, but for the most part, the way we do it is, for example, we charge a starting $3,500 base. It's really a $3,500 base, and then we do per appointment, right? And so that gets our average ticket to like $6K.
Okay.
But when we pitch that sounds a lot better than we're going to charge you
5 to 6K.
Yeah. Right.
100%. Mm-hmm. What would you give as advice to people like starting out? Because I even know, like for myself, like pricing super hard, especially in you're going to a new industry. You may not feel super confident. People tend to like price against themselves because they want the business, and you have to do that early on, right? Mm-hmm. You have to prove yourself. You have to start to build a portfolio. Do you think and do you suggest that is the, I guess, most appropriate and like natural route where you kind of got to earn your stripes? Or do you think there's ways around that for aspiring individuals? Honestly, like pricing all comes down to experience and confidence. Now, some people might start and have this unicorn mindset and this capability of just charging more out the gate. Kudos to you. For me, I had to like
month by month, client by client, subconsciously tell myself that we could increase the price.
Right.
And I would say once you truly know kind of like your industry, what exists, what solutions are out there, and you honestly know what game you're playing, well, for us now, we're like, okay, we're the agency that can deliver like financially qualified credit, like real credit screen leads. We have the team capable of doing that. I know no one can do that. So when we go to the market and pitch our prices, even though it's more expensive than everyone else, I already know that who else is going to do that? No one.
Right.
Right. And I know how hard it is to do that. So I also know I don't see anyone kind of like we built a moat, if you will. So
yeah,
I guess when it comes to us saying, hey, we're just going to charge more, it's based on the fact that we kind of know the entire landscape of what's existing.
Got it. Okay, cool. With that as well, what were the conversations around ad spend with some of these clients, right? Some local based businesses, they're scared of the retainer in general. And then there's the ad spend aspect to it as well. Were you guys giving like either requirements or recommendations to certain businesses that I'm sure you would audit and do research on and say like, you really need to invest X or else you're not going to get the results? My follow up to that and why I ask is I think so many individuals or new and young entrepreneurs, they struggle with managing expectations, especially within the agency world, because you want to, you obviously want the client to have confidence and faith that you could do what you're promising. But in this case, right, and why I love media buying and paid media as a service is because I think it's really black and white. You can't really like hide from it. It's either like kind of know what you're doing or you don't. But sorry, I know I just threw a double-ended question at you, but what were the requirements or like limitations around what you wanted these clients to spend, or how did you determine that? And then how are you managing expectations?
Yeah. So again, it comes to when you fully understand the industry through experience and repetitions. So like at the start, we would do a 1,500 ad spend, right? 1,500 is going to get us the amount of leads and we're good. And we knew like, okay, if we charge 1,500 ad spend, 3K, it's digestible, right? And even to this day, if we're talking like the Cairo PT space, really most of those clients of ours the average only spends $2,500 a month. So it's not like it dramatically increased. That market is typically businesses that do $500K to $1 million a year. Like these are small little businesses. And so you're going to have the ones that like are outliers who are more business savvy and are more, confident in scalability, which they're going to try really only spend $5,000 to $7,000 to $8,000. But you kind of understand what game you're playing in those markets. Now in the dental space, it's completely different. And it's not even that crazy, but those clients are more spending minimum $7,000, $8,000, $15,000, $20,000 max.
Okay.
Still small business, still not that much, but their revenues are usually 3, 4, 5 mil, 6 mil, multiple locations, more sophisticated, higher price points. So kind of just
level.
It all comes down to like the math.
100%.
Really. Yeah.
That makes sense. Were there any hot markets that you noticed, right? Because you guys are now placed. How big is the organization in terms of your team now?
Right now, I would probably say probably 30.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any markets that have traditionally done better for you guys than others where you're like we kill it in this city?
Cities?
Yeah.
Obviously it all depends on like the services. So I'll tell you industries that I know are difficult. Like New York City is a pain in the, I don't care what you're doing. You need big budgets and the business needs to be super sophisticated because every step of that funnel all the way to them closing, every person needs to be sharp because you have crazy competition and there's a lot of money there. Miami's really difficult because one, you have super low bidders, people racing to the bottom, you know, which is tough. And then two, overall Miami's a very like no show, doesn't keep the commitments type environment. And if you're a business owner here, you just got to know that.
Yeah.
You got to factor that into your numbers. So Miami's tough in terms of like, damn, like half these people are showing up even though they already paid.
Right.
That's crazy, right?
That
Like
makes
they already
sense.
paid and they didn't even show up. Nuts.
It's definitely consumer dependent.
Yeah.
Okay, once you started to scale, you got the bigger office in San Diego. That next phase, when you started to kind of stack into the multi-7-figure range, what's the gap of time from that and then you making the transition over to Miami? Because I want to talk a little bit about your time here so far, or Fort Lauderdale before Miami.
So,
And why the move, right?
okay, so like 2019, we're running a legit call center out of the office in Mission Valley. Really, we're just scaling. Like we're just continuing to realize we can get clients on demand. How are we gonna actually service that through hiring people who can actually do the job? And then boom, we're at lunch and the news comes, you know, it's the whole COVID thing. Literally 48 hours later, we're just like, what the hell is going on here? Like, and everything shuts down. So at that time, since we were brick and mortar and all our clients are healthcare, like everything shuts down. So it's kind of like that moment where no one knew what was going to happen. I'm sure you remember that. Like gyms were closed, the beach was, everything was closed. Like the whole world shut down. And we actually started traveling Airbnbs in the mountains. So we got a bunch of sick cabins. We're doing these crazy hikes. And it was kind of like that time where like, we don't really know what to work on because everything's paused.
What were clients doing at this time? Were they like trying to immediately cancel and cut everything?
So
Were they
like,
just like
we'll 10% were like, well, everyone paused to start. Like, let's pause and we have no idea what's going on.
How many clients were you guys around at this time, 2019? When
Probably
COVID started?
like 75.
Okay.
You know,
Holy fuck, that's scary.
yeah. And like, but we were all on the same page where it's like, no, we want to keep marketing, but we live like they're forcing us to shut our doors.
Right.
Like we have no idea what's going on. And so, start traveling, doing all this stuff, having it. Honestly, it was like 2020 was an insanely cool year because it was a time to kind of just hang out with all the friends who helped me build the business, and we're just letting loose. And then I come back to San Diego and it's just getting crazier and crazier. And so me and my buddy were like, let's go to Florida. Let's just get an Airbnb and work from there and kind of just see what happens.
Nice.
And then boom, within 1 week, I was like, all right. That was it. Like I just never went back home. Literally.
Did you travel out here often? South Florida before?
No. It was like, who's open? What gyms are open? Fort Lauderdale, Miami. All right, let's go. That's where we're going.
I love it. So it was kind of like a rebirth for you almost.
Yeah. It was one, California was way overboard, right? Like we're talking the gym in the apartment complex was even closed.
Right.
Like, what are we supposed to do here? Everyone in Florida is like, oh, the gyms are open. We're just living our life. I'm like, boop, let's go.
So you started to dial in, I'm assuming, some clients in the South Florida area.
We have a lot of clients in Florida. Even before
that.
Although the business was in San Diego, our clients were all over the United States.
Got it. Okay. So you get here. What changes as things start to like more so nationally open up? COVID starts to fade, I guess, over the next year or two, 2021, 2022. Do you guys continue to rinse and repeat this formula and kind of get back into action? Is there any like other big inflection points or breaks where you're like,
Well, we
just doubled again.
We got lucky because we got lucky again. So one, we got that cool 30-day break, and then boom, the government or whatever deems all these clinics essential.
Mm-hmm.
So then boom, all these businesses are like terrified of their business too. Open the doors, pump the marketing, let's go. And marketing to consumers during COVID was literally the biggest, easiest cheat code ever, because you have all these people who have nothing to do, who have now all the time to fix all these things and what they want while they're getting stimulus checks. And like the money back then was almost like fake money. It was a weird time. A lot of people got rich during COVID.
Right.
A lot of people. We were kind of one of them. Like,
yeah.
And just continued the party and just scaled into like, went from like 1.4 to 2.8, literally doubled.
Wow.
After that sick month break of just partying and then boom, doubled again. And then, yeah, essentially, I mean, the last 4 years we've been doing between 5 and 6 mil. It's post-COVID arena, but we know exactly what we need to do.
Right.
I would say building an 8-figure agency I will literally for sure admit that it's the hardest thing I'll have ever done.
I mean, at that point, right, like you guys know how to acquire. It's just retaining and doubling down on talent, right?
It's who's on your team. And when I say that, it's from the top down. So like when you go into like, hundreds of clients, 40 employees, things like that, you need a really good leadership team. So
yeah, who are the most important people to you within your team, within your business right now?
Okay, so starting from sales, right? Because without sales, you're dead. We have an insanely talented account executive. Most people call him closer. Insanely good. We have a really good marketing team who handles all of our marketing. So that's the blood. Like they just pour in cash. And then from the fulfillment side, which is ultimately like how you're going to get to 8 figures, is you do need a really solid product. We have a head of marketing, we have a head of call center, and then a head of customer success. So in the agency space, customer success account managers are the strategists. They communicate with the clients. They're the ones on Zoom breaking shit down. Head of marketing is doing all the marketing for the clients, and all those leads are funneling to the call center. So those 3 departments together formulate an amazing product and drive revenue for our clients. So I would say the sales end, you got to have a great closer, head of marketing, head of customer success, and head of call center, given that each of those departments have multiple employees.
Right. Love that. So you make the move down to Miami as well. Want to talk about some of your habits outside of work, right? Like I know you're big on social, and let's talk about that too. Like how is the personal brand impacted what you're doing, either just personally or professionally? Like when did you kind of notice that this was something that you wanted to do in terms of just like more so sharing your perspective online? That's how we got connected, and I kind of came across what you were doing. But was that like a conscious decision? Was that something that was just kind of like a natural progression at this point?
I think so. With the content, one, I kind of find I felt like I had something to say. Like I went through so much like obstacles, trials, and tribulations, and I started to kind of understand how the world works. And I was like, dude, I probably should say something, right? And because people who I learned from, like if they never posted content, like the people who I paid for help and they weren't posting content and I never knew about them, holy cow. Like there's a few people who just taught me sales, taught me better marketing, changed my money, my belief around money, things like that. And so I felt like, all right, let me start making content. And then with that came, well, maybe I can coach other agency owners and do this as well. So then we really started to pump the content. Now my content game is just, I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Just pull out my phone, and just do that.
Like that's the best stuff.
Just do that. But yeah, man, it's kind of like I'm at a point where the number one objective is scaling Digital Ox. And if I have something to share along the way, I'm going to share it. Right now, I don't have a videographer. I don't have all that stuff. I used to. Shout out to Kaylin. Kaylin was my videographer, helped me with all the YouTube, all that stuff when we were promoting coaching and stuff. Now she's an account manager in Digital Ox.
Nice.
And is crushing it. And so it's kind of where we're at right now.
Love it. You mentioned that you had like a shift around your belief with money and stuff like that. You're obviously in a position right now to have a pretty insane and fruitful lifestyle from what it seems like, right? I'm sure that's shaped how you think about certain things and decisions. Talk to me a little bit about what you mean by that. And like, was there maybe a point where you just had like a realization or?
Yeah. So, I mean, with the target being pretty much building an 8-figure agency, $1 million a month, I would talk about it a lot. And then it finally kind of hit that like, it's a completely different business than running a $500K a month, $400K a month. It's a huge shift. And with that shift is you need about 4 to 5 people who are really good, potentially better than you. And that means they're probably going to cost $150 to $250 a year. Right. So no more like, let me just try to do all this, or let me try to hire Timmy and pour into him and try to get him. No. Like, we're hiring people from companies who already train these people, who've already been in these scenarios, using headhunters. And I almost realized, like, let me sacrifice profit, build the best possible team I could possibly build, so that one, we actually have the potential to go to where we want to go. And then I'm also going to get the freedom I want to get. Like, nothing is worse than, I mean, it gets like making money, but simultaneously running a daycare is what I call it. Meaning like just a bunch of low level employees is not fun. Because really, once you have money, at the end of the day, you want freedom, right? Like, you can make all this money, but if you can't have freedom and you constantly have all these fires and you're working with a bunch of idiots, dude, that gets old. Yeah. It gets old. And so, the realization came when I had a specific figure in my liquid assets bank account, and then I had essentially $1 million in the Digital Ox bank account. And I realized, okay, I can completely go all in. I'm willing to lose this $1 million to build the team, build the technology, build everything we need to do to literally be the best and go to that $1 million mark. And if I fail, I literally wouldn't have to work for 15 years, living my same lifestyle.
Right.
And once that clicked, it's kind of still stemming from my younger days of like, how long do I have? Which is weird, right? But it finally clicked. I was like, dude, 15 years. And if I literally, everything went south and I blew this whole thing, I'm still good. And once that finally just resonated, and I told my mom, and I kind of ran them through, and they're like, dude. And I always expect the worst. But the funny thing is that $1 million is still in that bank account. And we've invested $700,000 in our new tech stack this year.
Wow.
Like, that moment was like, fucking do what you need to do. Invest in the people, invest in the technology. Everyone thinks that this formula is going to set us in a whole new stratosphere amongst getting clients easier. Because, like, who's doing what we're doing? No one. But it was just biting the bullet, headhunters.
Wow.
6-figure salaries, $700K in building this race car tech stack between the call center and the marketing team for our clients. And that's where we're at now. We're coming out the other end of big investments.
Unbelievable.
Right.
So that was the season of 2025 then for you guys.
That was this season of like, you can't continue to do the same shit and keep saying you're going to hit $1 million a month. And now you're on year. Because think about it. We've done 4 years in a row now, in between 5 and 6. Okay, you're going to keep doing the same shit? No. Like, stop talking about it. And so once I had this money and I realized I could torch this and still be good, probably bad advice for everyone. It's just what happened for me.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, let's fucking go. Like,
well, it takes a lot to do that and say that, right? Because there's a whole lot of people that would feel real comfortable at that 5 to 6 million a year mark, right? And feel like I don't got to change a thing. When you started to make that level of money, right? I'm sure there's some things that changed within your lifestyle. You don't have to go down the list of all that, but I'm curious, what are some of the maybe personal investments that you made into yourself once you had that enhanced opportunity and lifestyle that you feel like were worth it, or that you didn't regret?
I mean, all the simple ones were, all the simple ones are like, I have personal trainers, right? I have, it's not an in-person chef, but she makes the exact food from the exact place, drops off twice a week. I've, the house cleaners and the laundry and all that stuff. Even like send me your boy's mobile Cairo. I hate driving in the Cairo. Like that's something that I would invest in because I have to literally, and those offices are only open in office hours. So I'm usually wasting time. It's a pain in the ass. So
sure.
That's something like we're talking about all the things that stack up once you have money is really just, I could literally finish a meeting. Boom. He's in the living room already set up, 15 minutes done. I'm back to whatever I want to do. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Super valuable. Vacations were big, a lot better now.
Yeah. You could flex a little bit. You could.
I mean, the funniest thing. So when, there was a point where my assistant, Kaylin, who's now an account manager, she's like, dude, I think you kind of live, a little like humble. It's like, what do you mean? I got an M4, like we eat whatever we want. She's like, still, like, it's kind of like you're not. And like literally a week later, we go to the Lamborghini dealership in Broward. I was like, let's just go. And I just want to ask them questions. My first question was like, how much does someone need to make to afford a car like that one right there? And the guy was like, $300K a year. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck out. Like, there's no way. He's like, dude, there's people who come in here with cashier's checks and like to try to fake this lifestyle. He's like, dude, if you got $300K a year, you can do this. I'm like, I would never. What the hell? Like, it's a $3,000 a month, $3,500 payment. Like, it wouldn't make sense. But at that time, I was so far beyond that. And that's literally like within a week, I had a Lamborghini from that conversation of her telling me like, dude, you're like little like
too humble with it.
Too, not even humble, but like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started to open up a little bit more.
Is that's another thing I noticed a little bit. Is it a conscious decision by you guys? I've noticed maybe like you're not the most loud with the Digital Ox brand, right? Like you guys don't really promo that much and like do a ton of like internal brand stuff. Is that by design or is that because like you guys don't really need to?
I mean, we're gonna need to do that, but the main reason, like organic for 60-year-old dental surgeons and all these doctors, the reality is the amount of effort that would go into organic, the ROI would still today be break even at most, probably a negative. So this would be more of like a long-term,
almost like something you would do if you want to get acquired too, right? To have the brand track record.
Yeah, just straight just market leader content on all forefront of
Right.
like that. And I got to change, like that mindset is going to change once we go to the next level. But when you realize if you put whatever 20K in ad spend and for years you're constantly producing 4 to 5 to 1 returns month one, you know, my laziness is like, well, do we really need to create all this content to like a market that's not really active on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Sure. That makes
Even
sense.
though they are, it, you know what I'm
The
saying?
decision makers really aren't.
It's like, but we're going to need to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to come.
Long term.
It's gonna
That
come.
makes sense. We're wrapping up here in a bit, but you're someone on social that also promotes like a very healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that to you in your day to day? What are some of the things that keep you in check, keep you sane, keep you on that straight line?
Yeah. So I optimize towards energy. And nothing is worse than waking up, feeling groggy, feeling tired, having brain fog. If you're even in that state, trying to build a business can be extremely tough, right? And so, throughout the years and trial and error, I've realized, you know, sleeping, a very specific way of eating, training, avoiding, you know, alcohol and things like that. I still drink and stuff, but like, you just got to know like, what's going to produce you waking up, not only waking up with energy, but waking up with like, I'm going to literally just destroy what's in front of me.
You have to be so intensely self-aware and self-disciplined, right? Because like, I don't even have to ask the question, but like, there's obviously a lot of temptation in a city like this.
Yeah. In Chicago too, I'm sure.
There was, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I don't dabble as much as I used to, but you can't waste a weekend. You have to be on every day. You know that. Was there temptation there? Is that something you ever struggled with a little bit?
That's my biggest struggle right now. When I was first getting started, the fear of it not working or losing was so high that like not partying, not doing anything was so easy because I was terrified of things not going the way they wanted to go. Now, Fort Lauderdale, moving to Miami, the hardest part is knowing that literally at a snap of a finger, I can go out and just have an amazing time. And I've kind of, you know, worked on a lot of areas in my life where it's like, dude, it could just be so fun. And you have to know how to know that, but not do it. And so typically what happens, I'll do it. I'll know I'm doing it. I know the repercussions. And then I'll pop back into this lifestyle of like energy, fitness, training. I also like to feel good in training. Like I notice when my cardio's down, I notice all these things.
Sure.
Right. And my mood goes down when I know that I'm also not like really excelling in workouts, and I like boxing a lot and things like that. And so
Love it.
It's a balance that I don't know the answer to yet. You know, some people just say, hey, don't drink, don't party, do anything. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. It's a personal thing, right? It's a journey you have to go through. Amazing advice, amazing stuff. I've really resonated with this conversation. We have one closing question that we like to ask every guest, a little bit of a tradition. If you had to go back in time and tell your 18-year-old self one thing, knowing what you know now, what would that one thing be?
I would say, shit. What would I tell my 18-year-old self? I'd probably say that oh my God, it'd probably be amongst like, it's kind of like cliche, but like if you,
Think about it.
like, how do I say this? It's going to be something along the lines of like, when you're starting, there's going to be so many things that are going to try to get you in your subconscious, in your mind, to say, hey, let's not do this. Let's stop. And literally probably 99% of people fall and fail to that. And it's going to require every single ounce of you to push past those. And the more you push past them, it's literally just one day you're going to get slightly lucky, and it's going to allow a little shiny light at the end of the tunnel to maybe pop up. Maybe it closes again. But you have to know how to control your mind and your emotions. And there is going to be some insanely painful things coming your way. Insanely painful. And all you got to do is just realize that like this shit will end. Stay focused. Build your pain tolerance.
Love it.
Pain tolerance is everything, honestly. Like, you show me someone's pain tolerance, I will literally kind of show you how far they're going to go.
Yeah. Can't lose if you don't quit.
100%.
Amazing. Stevie, tell the cameras where people could follow you. What are your socials? How can they get in touch with you?
Instagram, Stevie Johnston _ I think my YouTube's the same. Not too active, but probably have like 20 videos on there.
Still some value there.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Stevie, thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. Really appreciate
Likewise.
it.
Thanks,
awesome.
bro.
Link Live, it's a wrap.